Hi guys, welcome to CYC. My name's Nathan Hayes, and today I want to talk to you about why we have two halves of a brain, why there are two hemispheres in every animal. We were always told when we were younger that you have your right hemisphere is meant to be your creative side, and your left hemisphere is meant to be your more analytical and mathematical side. But surely animals don't have a creative side, and they don't do maths, unless you train them, but why does every animal have two hemispheres? Basically. And this ties into creativity and it ties into anxiety and how they may be linked. So just give it a second. Okay, there's a theory. This is only a theory, so don't hold strong to this, but I find it super interesting. That's it. Anyway, the theory is that there's a master-servant system. Your servant system is orientated around what's immediate, what is tangible, what is right in front of you. And your master system is to do with potential, what's further afield, just at the periphery of your vision that might harm you. That could be seen as creativity. Because your imagination, why do we think? We're playing out, we're extrapolating, we're imagining what could happen with any kind of chain of events. That's kind of what your imagination is. That's kind of what creativity is. Starting to see it? So your servant system is basically about, for an animal, we're going to take it into an animal first, then put it into humans. As an animal, you're a deer and you're eating grass. Servant is making sure you're chewing, is making sure you're not bumping into people right beside you, and making sure you're doing all the basics, basically. Your master system is looking just at the periphery to make sure there's no lions, tigers, or anything that could hunt you, kill you, be a threat. And the reason it's the master system is because obviously it overrides the servant. If you are hungry, if you are starving, and someone's chasing after you with a knife, you are running. Regardless, doesn't matter. You are running. That's why it's the master. Nothing really to say it's superior or inferior or anything like that. It's just that when push comes to shove, master system wins out, because if someone's running after you, you're getting out. That's why it's there. So, putting it into humans, your immediate is your tangible, is your analytical, is your mathematic. What's right in front of you that you can work with your hands. It's your engineering, carpentry, all the kind of tangible stuff. Kind of makes sense. Your master system then is again about potential, which is essentially creativity. When you're saying, geez, anything is possible. We could make music and put these chords in this order. You're on about potential. And evolutionary wise, this might have come around because you're extrapolating and imagining potential threats. But somewhere along the lines, we used it for just benefit. Instead of running from something to work towards, we imagined how good it could be, how pretty something could be, how aesthetic, how creativity, all the facets that go into that. So that's really interesting. How exactly does it link into pretty much anything practical? Well, if you're super creative and your master system or your right hemisphere, whatever way you want to phrase it, the creative side of you, if that's working overtime, and if it did come through the evolution from that, making sure there's no threats, it always wins, and it overrides your immediate, more workhorse grinding system, the servant system, meaning that you might find it hard to focus. Again, this is a theory, not concrete. But separating those two things out, even if it's just kind of arbitrary or compartmentalizing two halves of me, one that's really kind of whimsical and wants to imagine and wants to create and wants to just kind of come up with new ideas or whatever. And then there's the other half which grinds and does the work and studies and researches and does all the less fun stuff, basically. So, basically what I want you to get from this is that potentially, in this theory, they are two separate systems, and the master system can override. And you might need to consciously, once you've use your creativity to find an angle, a direction, some sort of technique that you like, or some sort of whatever message you want to get out there. You might want to allow the servant system to take the front and do the work that needs to be done to actually produce it. And the creative side has to come back in and make sure you're staying up to date, and make sure you're still staying on message, and making sure there's nothing new that came around that might just make it better, or kind of there is a balance you have to check up. There has to be a give and take to the two sides. But putting creativity over all might be a bad thing. I'm not 100% sure. But sometimes you need to embrace the grind. You need to embrace the boring crap stuff. Even in your dream job, even in man, if I got to do these videos as my dream job, that'd be feckin' awesome. Even with these videos, there's a ton of stuff that just, editing isn't fun. Color correcting. I'm not an aesthetic person. I'm a message person. I'm a narrative language, whatever. The aesthetics, how pretty something looks, doesn't matter to me usually. It's if there's a painting and if it's done beautifully, I will still say, what's the message in the painting? What's the idea? And my mind will be blown and I'll be like, that's amazing. But I will take a badly painted, awesome message over a beautifully painted, no message piece. So, way too much about me there, but either way, you get the point. Even in the dream job, there's going to be grind. There's going to be just hard work stuff that just is just... You know what I mean? And I've come to terms with this, and I've found a way of working it, and this helped. Honestly, this really helped, because when I was doing my thesis, I was coming up with an idea. I was finding the thing and I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. When you're at that edge of what is currently known, of research that's only done in the last 2 years, and where everyone's telling you, hey, this is a cool idea that you should follow up on, and this is a cool idea. I was going down so many rabbit holes because they were fun and it was awesome, and I was reading loads and it was great. At a certain point, I had to turn off the creative side. I had to just be like, get your bit done. Do the servant, do the grind, do the boring, mundane task, switch off the creativity. Every now and then, are we still, hey, that could be a kind of cool twist we'll put in there or whatever. And I found that helpful. Now, outside of a massive deadline and a big project like that, I definitely prefer the creative side. But just when you're in the middle of hard work, you might want to allow the servant to take precedent, or to take the forefront, or whatever way you want to phrase it. Maybe. Anyway, that's my take home, kids. That is it though. Hopefully, I don't know if I put it across properly, but I find that idea just awesome. And I hope you do too. I hope you find some use out of it. I hope, again, it's just a theory, but even if it just helps you to compartmentalize the two and kind of switch between the two as needed, perfect. Never forget the creative side. Don't leave it behind. Don't you dare. I'm not telling you that. But switching between the two can be advantageous. And that's pretty much it. So that's it. That's number 5. We're getting through this. Okay, anyway, so for the third time, that is it. I'm going to see you tomorrow, guys, and have a good one. Bye, guys.